Fury is a great heavyweight. The fact that he's a switch hitter, you don't really see that in heavyweight boxing. And that's, he can box southpaw and he can box orthodox. He can move well. His boxing IQ is high, and he's a very smart individual. So, I expect big things in the future. They want to see an undisputed champion. They want to see Tyson Fury and Anthony fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. Both are great athletes, and everybody's looking for a major fight like that. And there's a lot of people that think Anthony Joshua is going to be the champion. A lot of people think that Tyson Fury is going to be the champion. Right now, Tyson Fury is number one to me.
John.
Those are the words of Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis says that he feels that Tyson Fury is the number one heavyweight, and he explained why. He gives Tyson Fury the accolades, and a lot of things he said about him were true. Now, as far as switch hitting, I really haven't seen a lot of Tyson Fury switch hit, to be honest with you. Maybe a little shifting, but other than that, not really a switch hitter. He's not like a Terrence Crawford or anything like that. Because Terrence Crawford does that in each and every fight. He gives a fighter a totally different dimension of his game, and then he takes advantage of them, because I think that confuses a lot of fighters. I haven't seen Tyson use that in that type of way. You see what I'm saying? He might box in spots where he does go into southpaw stance, but that's not enough to say, well, hey, he's a successful switch hitter. Maybe in his earlier fights, which a lot of those fights I haven't seen of Tyson Fury. I've seen the one where he punches himself, things of that nature. But as far as switch hitting lately in his previous fights, his last 6 fights, I haven't seen that from Tyson Fury. So, but Tyson Fury is a very high-Q'd fighter. He's very smart. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it forever. People keep forgetting that about Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's been fighting since he was a kid. It's a fighting man. People forget about what that means to his culture. His culture, they grow up fighting. A lot of people grow up playing basketball, soccer, stuff like that. They grow up fighting, mixing it up, squaring off, okay? And that's what they're good at, so they're used to tactical fights and engagements like that, so his rule of engagements IQ as a boxer is very high. Okay, so him fighting someone like Anthony Joshua, though, it's going to be a good fight because Anthony Joshua has his whole set of attributes, but to agree with Lennox Lewis, is he the number one heavyweight? Well, he's the WBC heavyweight champion currently. Then we have another champion, and the only way that we can figure out if these two guys are which one is the best right now is they fight each other. Then fight the people that the other person hasn't fought previously once you do have a defining winner to see. See, Tyson Fury has fought. The only fighter they have in common, Tyson Fury and Joshua, is Klitschko. That's it. That's all. Okay, Deontay Wilder and Joshua, they have more, because at least, the Carlos Molina fight, they both fought Carlos Molina and they both fought Brazil. But, those guys really weren't that high on the totem pole as top opponents. Wilder hasn't fought Dillian White, neither has Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua has. Povetkin, same thing. Povetkin hasn't fought Fury or Wilder. Joshua has. You see what I'm saying? Joshua never fought Luis Ortiz. Tyson Fury never fought Luis Ortiz. No one has really fought Luis Ortiz except for Wilder. That's why a lot of people thought he was just designated to be that guy to make Wilder look good. So, we still have to see if that's true. Guys are taking nosedives on the sake of whatever. So, so it's hard to really have a good barometer on who is better. You know what I mean? So for me to just say, hey, Joshua's better than Fury. Well, how do I know that? Tyson Fury is better than Anthony Joshua. Well, how do I know that? How do I know that these guys are the top guys? That's just a fact of opinion, just like Lennox Lewis shared his opinion. He shared his opinion like, hey, you know what? I think Tyson Fury is the best right now. Based on what, though? See, he gave us a summary of what Tyson Fury, his attributes are. That's great. You know, and I guess for that reason, he thinks he's better. But if that's based on beating opponents that's worth a damn, you beat 1 in 5 years, that's a hard, you know what I mean? That's bad. And if that was Anthony Joshua, I'll say the same for him. And none of those guys have beat the guy that beat Anthony Joshua last year, which is Andy Ruiz. It's about who you're able to beat. It's about who you're able to beat. Counterpunch. So those are the things that you look at. So me counterpunching Lennox Lewis, I think it's premature. You can't say that. And if it's again, it's his opinion. You got to respect Lennox Lewis's opinion. But at the end of the day, you can't say who's better. You know, him beating Klitschko, that makes him better. Joshua beat Klitschko too. Okay. You know, we could talk about that. So that's an opponent they both have in common, but they both beat that guy. Okay. But none of these guys, it's too far-fetched. I mean, we know Wilder's not number 1. You know what I'm saying? We know he's not number 2 at this point because he got beat. All right. He might be number 4 or 5, but Dillian White got beat. So, you know what I mean? These guys are getting beat by new and different, fresh fighters that introduce different styles. Okay, so styles make the fights all the time. So it's up to who is the best that can adapt to different styles in the game. That's who you can define who's better or not. And Tyson Fury hasn't fought enough guys to show us, hey, can you beat someone like White? Can you beat Andy Ruiz? You know what I'm saying? Can you actually beat these dudes? Oscar Rivas, can you beat these guys? Or just enough people think you can beat these guys so you don't have to fight these guys. See, that's that Mayweather garbage. Okay, that's that mentality. Oh, he can beat him. He clearly can beat him. Well, hey, we thought that about Maidana and Mayweather now, didn't we? Counterpunch. And Maidana gave Mayweather hell, didn't he? He sure did. Look at that fight again. You're like, oh, shit. Well, Floyd was hurt with that. He got hit. Floyd actually got hit. He gets hit from time to time. So back to Fury. Is he the best? We don't know that. Is he one of the best heavyweights? Sure he is. Now we can agree on that. But so is Anthony Joshua because there's no defining winner because they haven't fought yet. Counterpunch. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Lennox Lewis's comments about Tyson Fury. Is Tyson Fury the number 1? Leave your comment below. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.